Okay, hi. I am doing this for me and I'm also doing this for other people. Um I feel like I've been talking to a lot of my friends about the pressure of summer, and I feel like whenever summer comes, I always realize how many friends I don't have. I also realize how much I don't have to do. And not in a good way, as in let's sit back and relax, because I'll be so real. With my experience of first year university, I never really had anything to do. I could sit back and relax basically 80% of the time. And then the other 20%, I would be in a nightclub, well, in a bar, or submitting my work last minute. And that's okay. Wait, no, I wouldn't be submitting it last minute. I'll be writing it last minute. And that's okay. But I feel like there's this huge pressure whenever summer comes to, like Project X, like let's all go on loads of fucking holidays. Suddenly, like a pool is just gonna spawn into my back garden, and I'm gonna get white girl wasted, and I'm suddenly gonna have all these friends that are really perfect and great, and everyone gets along, and it's all sunshine and rainbows. When I don't know if this is just me and my life is shit. Right, not too much. But I spend most of my summer like sleeping in and staying up late doing fuck all. And I feel like I always say this sentence to people, and I feel like every single month I have a you can't even call it a midlife crisis because I'm not even 20 yet. I'm 19. Um it's just it'll be a mid-month crisis all the time, and I always say the same sentence. I always say since I was 17 I have not done anything with my life. I have not moved on. And the reality of that is not true. That in that moment is me being overly hard on myself. However, this is embarrassing, but I will admit it. Have I got a job? No. Have I got my driver's license? No. Um I'm trying to think. But then actually, when I pull back on that, I'm like, okay, that's the only thing I'm going off. But I've made loads of new friends. Um, I've gone through a whole shebang with my family. I've moved out of my childhood home. I've moved into my new uni house. I go to university. I did really well on my first year. And I would actually say f- when I was little and when I was in college, like that whole time, like high school, oh, the worst. I think, okay, sorry, I'm like not getting my words out. So when I was little, I remember I always used to do this thing. Always used to be conscious about how I moved or how I acted. I think I watched too much TV, but I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to be desirable, obviously not in a sexual manner or romantic, but I just wanted to be like this princess angel, and I would like beat myself up for it. Like I would be like, I'm not moving. Like I couldn't describe it. I just wasn't perfect. I wasn't this idea of what I wanted to be, which was well polished and put together. And no one, like, I used to like be like, okay, I need to like start my life again. Like I need to like I would count down from 10 most nights and be like, right, start my life again, 3, 2, 1. And then I would like lay myself on my pillow, like with my eye mask on, like trying to be perfect. And then I would do something that I didn't perceive as perfect. And then I would be counting down again. And that is like not normal. Well, maybe it is, but I don't believe that someone that is prepubescent or any age should really be doing all that and putting all that pressure on themselves. Because if you would have actually sat me down and said, okay, so who is it that you're wanting to be, or show me, like paint a picture of what this is that you're trying to accomplish. I don't think I could have told you because I didn't even know. I just knew I wasn't happy with how I was, which is sad. Like, and I genuinely don't know where that came from, because I wouldn't say social media, because when I was little, my household wasn't big on social media. Like, my mum and dad, I would read every night before bed, and that is why I do my course now, creative writing, and that is why I, have this passion and quote unquote talent for writing and creating pieces, whether that be script, whether that be a story, whether that be descriptive work. I find myself being good at it, and I find myself enjoying it, which makes me feel good about myself. Um, and then high school, I just had no idea who I was. I think I built up this sort of toxic wall, and I hated it. And every day I would come home and I would feel so guilty. I would feel so guilty about how I handled the day. I would say things without thinking. And I feel like it was the whole thing of high school is you either be a bitch or you're fucked. A part of my language. But if you weren't, like, it was weird. Like, my friendship group, it was like, I was talking about the other day to my mom, I think. There was boys and there was girls, and there was quite a big one. But in my opinion, no one, there was a few, but no one was really anyone's friend. I feel like we were all friends, but there was no care. Do you know what I mean? If one of them, like, it's hard to describe because it was a nice environment, and I still care about these people, and I still like them, most of them. Um, I feel like it was like, now I have good friends, even though there are few, which I'm trying not to get myself to mind. Um, like, I know what it is to be friends with someone, and it's like, you actively give a shit about this person, and you actively, like, want to, you know, be a part of their life. Like, I don't know, it's something deeper, and I feel like I don't need to describe a good friendship, because I feel like we all will have at least one person that will provide that for us. But if I'd have, like, had the worst day ever, I don't know if I could have been talked. There was quite a few people in that group where I don't think I could have talked about that and been taken seriously, because we were young, and that's not because they were bad people. It's because we were young and we were all, focused on ourselves, and we just wanted to have as many friends as possible and be as popular as we could. But I don't think that was people's main motive. I think it was more subconscious, and I think that's the kind of thing that the environment of high school shapes you to be, in my opinion. Like, I'm not sat here being like they were all like that, but, like, I feel like from the vibes I got, and it was kind of like, I think high school is just a free for all. But anyways, I ended up going into counseling because I just completely lost my sense of self. And I was such a guilty person because I just hated how I would handle things and how I would be. And when I was by myself alone in my room, I was like, yes, this is me. Like, I'm sweet. Like, I would be like maternal over myself. I'd be like, yes, like, I'm a nice person. I feel comfortable and confident in myself and how I am when I'm by myself. But that's because I didn't feel like I needed to impress anyone. And as soon as I was in a social setting and I started feeling this pressure, I would say things and I would do things about, oh my God, I would feel like I was like running away from myself. It was like, when you drop toilet paper and it keeps rolling, I was like running after that, like, because I would just be stupid. Like, and there was a lot of times where, you know, I would say things that were mean, or, like, just like tight, like, just like unnecessary at someone else's expense to make people laugh, and it's just like bollocks. And then when I went to college, I felt still kind of, when I first joined, I think I was still kind of stuck in the high school, but I was like, look, I personally don't like who I was and who I found myself to be in high school. I want to break that. Fresh start. I loved my college so much, actually. Like, I genuinely did. Um, I thought it was sick. But yeah, again, at college, I found myself a little bit more, but I feel like it's only been after college where I feel like in such a short space of time, there was a specific time, and it was the end of year two, around about. Nah, no, I would genuinely feel like that. So the summer from college to university, I spent basically completely by myself. I was in a relationship I didn't want to be in, and that is obviously a very hurtful thing to say. But it was very complicated. I did want to be in it, but I didn't want to be in it. It was just a very unhappy situation for both involved, and I didn't really, I didn't really hang out with anyone else. Not because I didn't want to, but because there wasn't really the option. Loads of people from my college have friendship groups at home that are really like that they love and that they are actively a part of. Whereas my girls from home, I think we'd all kind of stopped speaking then. There was a few I spoke to, but it was brief, and it was like everyone had their own group, and I just didn't really. Um, and with my friends that I was friends with from college, because of what my college was like, everyone came from all over, like Bradford, Sheffield, York, Wakefield, obviously, where it was. Everyone came from everywhere. So, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to see my friend down the road. It's like I'm going to go and get an hour train. And it just wasn't. And some of them I just didn't keep contact with as much. Um, and I hated it. I hated that summer. I genuinely hated that summer. But I feel like I was forced to be bored a lot and think about me. And my relationship with myself has become something I am happy with and something I'm content with and something I like pride myself on. And it was this kind of thing where before, when I would be falling or I'm getting sad, I would be like, oh my God, there's nothing I can do. Whereas now I know how to pull myself up. And I used to perceive the world as so dark and depressing and scary. Um, and now I see that not being the case as much or at all in some aspects. Um, but this is crazy. I've just done 30 minutes and I've just sat on my camera and talked, and kind of it was a lot of bollocks. But no, don't say that. Don't say that. But no, I wouldn't say I'm having the best time of my life right now. Back to the summer situation. Yeah, I don't really have anything to do again because again, my uni friends have all got their own friends, like groups, and I don't know. I just think it's important because sometimes I wonder if you'll know what I mean when I say this. I know how I'm feeling, but I can't put it into words. Like I know exactly what I'm feeling and where I'm at, but I just don't have like a label for it. But I feel like that's kind of the case with what I've just kind of been talking about. There's no like, oh, it's this or it's that. Um, I just feel like you guys will probably get what I mean. Um, but no, I think it's important to talk about things, and I think there's so many. My mum always says that my mum's quite high vibrational, like my mum, quite spiritual. Like my grandma got me into crystals. Like they don't kind of shun that thing. They like open to it and they listen and they care about it and they know things. But whatever. My mum always said, what is the word now? Don't make me forget this phrase. It was something like, I'm always inwards. Like, I'm always, instead of being outwards. I can't remember the exact phrase for it, but my mum basically says, I'm kind of inside myself. And my vibrations are inwards. But my mum pushes outwards, and that makes her happier. And she looks and opens her eyes to the world and, like, absorbs things. And I'm just going to say like a few random things that I believe always make me feel better, more grounded, more in touch with myself and comforted. Um, Reading books. Although I struggle to get myself to do this, when I do this, um, when I read a good book, um, I focus on it. I get excited about the story and it just calms me. And I think that might also be a nostalgic thing from reading a lot when I was younger, and writing. I think probably every therapist, you probably all heard this from your parents. Everyone always says, write it down. Oh, in my life anyway, get a journal. And I promise you, I think journaling is so important. Again, sometimes as a teenager, with everything, with our developing slower attention spans. Yeah, I think that's the word. Yeah, like I struggle to. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I think with the fact where you can just pick up your phone and do whatever the fuck, doom scroll, play a game, whatever, it is hard to get yourself to just sit and write. But I promise you, it is so worth it. Not only to get your thoughts out on a page, it is actually effective and it actually makes me feel a bit more like doing this video. I felt a bit crap, but I've spoke about it. And even if you can't be asked to do it, if you have a phone or a laptop, whatever, just sit yourself up, click record, and keep that like digital diary, which is my bio is for this account. I hated that. Anyways, it helps. And then it's also even better what I love, because I've had a couple of journals now in the past. Another thing, a side note I'll say is stop looking for perfection in your writing. I used to do that. It's like, oh my God, this is like cringe, or this is not aesthetically, like, that's not the point of it. The point of it is your brain. Your brain's a mess, but in a beautiful way. It's not perfect because, again, nothing is perfect. Reading, like going over journals, and when you read your past like entries and you see how far you've come, and you watch how your brain was in that time and how you felt like maybe the world was ending but now you feel great. It's a really nice, it's like a hug to yourself. It's like a pat on the back, which I love. Another one is tidying. If you are living in a messy space, I promise you it won't make you feel better. And I bet you're thinking, mate, shut up, mum, like this is so boring, but it's so true. Like, I used to have quite a messy room and it would get messy so easily. And I don't know when it happened, but I think it was uni. As soon as I got to uni and I lived in my own space and I had to upkeep my own space, my room is never a mess. Ask any of my friends, and not in like a, it genuinely isn't. It genuinely isn't. Anyways, my point is, my room is always tidy. And it's because, and this is why I think, when you feel like when you're sad or you're overwhelmed, when there is mess around you, because no one actually enjoys living in mess, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you have all the mess around you, your brain, you're subconsciously giving yourself more pressure because you're giving yourself more things to do, because you're thinking, oh my God, like I'm going to go to sleep, but like my room's a mess and I know I need to do it, but I'm not going to do it. And you're going to be probably subconsciously or consciously thinking that. And then when you like go to sleep or you're hanging in your room, it will, in my opinion, for me and maybe others, it will make me feel unsettled, because it's like, okay, I can't just fully chill and relax. Like I am chilling and relaxing, but I don't feel overly chill and relaxed because I've got to do all this bollocks. Another thing is, take a long shower, bring a speaker up or just your phone, play some songs that aren't sad. It is actually scientifically proven that sad songs are more likely to make you depressed, because you're literally just sending that into your brain. But listen to some good music, and something that you really enjoy, and then just do a really nice like scrub, shave, double shampoo, conditioner, do the whole shebang, and getting yourself in that steaming hot shower, and just, because again, you kind of like zone out from all this fuzz, and then you just, and it's literally self-care. Um, so, and then I've started doing this thing where I run the shower cold at the end of the shower, and I like close my eyes and I repeat affirmations in my head. I don't make them the same every day. I kind of change them about, but there is like a similar, like a pattern for it, because I know what I want and it stays the same. But yeah, just like say, this is what I do, say it over and over again. Another thing is make plans, and you're probably thinking, duh, but I know in myself, when I'm kind of in a rut, and when I'm rotting, um, I will just be like, nah, I'm just gonna sit in my bed all day. I'm gonna vape. I'm gonna watch a film. I'm gonna order a takeaway. And I've kind of wired, like, I feel like that's very wired. Like, I believe that's like, comfortable and I'm looking after myself because I'm being nice to myself. But actually, that's not the crack. Of course, it's nice to lay in bed for a little bit, and like watch a film, but you actually need to get outside. Um, when I started having panic attacks really, really bad for the first time this year. Yeah, this year. Yeah, it was after December, or it was in December, so kind of this year. I've never been an anxious person, like overly where it overtakes me. Horrific. I would take anything over a panic attack any day because they are the worst, and when you're in it, Lord help you. But the point of that is, I got a hypnotherapist for a brief time, and she told me that if you go outside for the first 30 minutes that you're awake, if you get yourself outside, it will immediately set, um, it will give you motivation and it will help with your serotonin. It will boost your serotonin for the day. That is what she told me. And yeah, open your blinds. Like, that is so important. I feel like I'm kind of going on a tangent, but I feel like I just wanted to talk. So yeah, maybe I'll post this, maybe I won't. I feel like I've kind of cut myself off when I was in the middle of saying sentences, but that's the beauty of the brain. You lose track of things, and I feel like I've said enough. But yeah, maybe I'll touch on it more. Maybe I won't. But I am actually gonna get myself up and get myself out. So yeah, thank you for watching.